Rome is the capital of Italy, and till you actually visit Rome, you would understand that there's no other city like it. Hi guys, welcome to another travel docu-series. Today we're going to be talking about Italy. Italy is an amazing country. It is so beautiful, from the people to the landscape. Deep history in architectural design. Italy is such an amazing country, and we're going to be talking all about Italy and the best touristic sites for you to visit when you're in and around Italy. Rome is just such an amazing city. I think everything about Italy is just so lovely because you get a bit of that traditional air. So welcome to another docu-series where we talk about all the fun facts as well as tips that you can enjoy if you're traveling to a particular country. Today we have Italy in the house, as we're going to be talking everything to do with Italy. It's such a beautiful European country. It's got a rich culture in food, wine. It's got a rich history. The birth of European civilization lies at the cradle of Italy. So we're going to be diving in as we explore the sights, sounds, and of course the tips for tourists traveling to Italy. Italy is a must-visit country and is one of the most traveled destinations in Europe. There's so many highlights to this beautiful city. You can go from the magnificence of the Vatican in Rome to the canals of Venice, to the Tuscan winelands, to the cobbled stone streets. I think that is one thing I remember, the cobbled stone streets. It's just so beautiful. You literally feel like you're in one of the scenes of a beautiful vintage movie. To the Arno River running through Florence, to the cliffs of Pistano and beyond. You have so many aspects to it, depending on what your taste is. But in Italy, you can't actually go wrong because there's too many places to visit. And they've got a lot of places for the most discerning of palates. You would find something and somewhere that actually suits what you're looking for. So when I've visited Italy twice and we went to Rome, and I cannot forget the magnificence of the Vatican City. So we had gone as a family to the Vatican City. This is more or less like the headquarters of the Roman Catholic Church. It was just dripping in magnificence. The cathedral was so breathtakingly beautiful. On the ground, it had like gold plates, big round gold plates on the floor. And I was so scared to step on them because I thought if I step on them, I was just going to fall right through. So Rome was the city I visited. And I think the sights, the smells, and everything that Rome had to offer was just so, so beautiful. So Positano is the gem of the Amalfi Coast and is by far the most arguably most romantic, most picturesque town the country has to offer. It's breathtakingly beautiful, and that's why you find a lot of tourists that visit Rome once have to go back for more and more, because the country is just got so many scenic views, so many beautiful sights that has you thirsting for more. So the best time to visit Rome would be in the summer months. That's between the months of July and August. But it might be a quite expensive time to visit because that is like the peak season for most countries, and rates would go up from your flight tickets to hotel accommodation. It can go up. I think the cheapest time to visit would be in the winter, where you would get less of the crowds that come in during the summer months. And you would also find a reduced fare in terms of ticket prices, as well as a reduced pricing in your hotel accommodation. From December to March, the coldest weather keeps most of the travelers at bay, and you can explore the country's incredible museums and galleries to your heart content. There's also the Christmas markets. My word, the Christmas markets are so beautiful. I remember going to one of the markets with my mom, and it was just full of fresh produce, and you had The women, I think the women reminded me so much of our African women, market women. They would speak in the language and we would struggle to try to speak back to them. Buongiorno, I picked that up, and they were also trying to teach us a few words of what the fruits and veggies were called at the time. I love the chalk writings and the display of the fruits and veggies, and you can just smell the freshness. One thing I also noticed, they are so big on olive oil, which was quite different from what I'm used to. You have fresh and organic olive oil. Italy is the origin of where pizza was created. So I tasted the freshest and the most delicious oven baked pizza in Rome. Another affordable time would also be between April and May before the summer crowds arrive. And by this time, the landscape is covered in fresh spring flowers, and it is just amazing. For an European destination, you can find a lot of its traditions and culture still intact, which is what really draws and attracts a lot of tourists to visit Italy on a yearly basis. So the main language spoken in Italy is Italian. The currency of the country is euros. Home to many of the world's greatest work of arts, architecture, and gastronomy, Italy elates, inspires, and moves like no other country. Italy also has the most UNESCO heritage sites than any other country in the entire world. That is because they have done so much in preserving their rich history and culture over centuries. So when you visit Italy, it's worth keeping an eye out for the Fay Spring Days. This is a 2-day event happening all around the country, during which the National Trust for Italy opens the doors of hundreds of heritage buildings that are usually not free to the public, but on these days they are free. It can get very, very hot during the summer months, so make sure you check the temperatures before you travel, because it's one of the hottest countries in Europe during the summer. The heat wave there is quite intense, so make sure if you're going to go, you pack enough light clothing, enough sunscreen, and make sure you are hydrated, wearing very comfortable clothing and footwear as you explore the beautiful cities. So the main cities that are quite popular is Rome, Milan. You also have Venice, Naples. What I found incredible was seeing a lot of heritage sites that still had footprints of the Roman era all around the city. You would find a lot of this in the buildings. You would find a lot of it in the statues. And going through some of the streets are loaded with food vendors. I can't remember where it was exactly. Went through a few of the streets that had food vendors literally from the beginning to the end. And you would have these food vendors call at you, trying to ensure you visit their stand, you visit their shop to taste what they had selling. An amazing experience. It can get a bit overwhelming, but I think it's in the positive light where you find a lot of things that are just so new. So the language primarily is Italian, and they do have a whooping 34 dialects. The population of Italy is just under 60 million, with around 3 million residing in Rome. So Italy has been a democratic republic since 1946, since they abolished the monarchy by popular referendum. Tuscany alone has more classified historic monuments than any country in the world. Now, when it comes to food and drinks, pizza and pasta. Italians are known for their amazing pizza and pasta. They originated pasta, and so they eat a lot of pasta. And the pasta there is made fresh most of the times, which means it retains the authenticity of its unique and beautiful, delicious taste. Piemonte and Lombardy make up the country's most cosmopolitan region, and the two main centers, Turin and Milan, are the wealthiest cities. You also have Emilia Romagna's coast is very popular among Italians, and Rimini is an absolutely beautiful seaside coast town. There are also ancient centers of Ravenna, Ferrara, Parma, and the regional capital, Bologna. Bologna is one of Italy's liveliest cities, and traditionally it's gastronomic and academic capital. Campania's capital is Naples and is an amazingly unforgettable city. You cannot talk about Italy without talking about Sicily, which coincides with my name. The island of Sicily is a mixture apart with a wide mixture of attractions, ranging from some of the finest preserved Helsinki treasures in Europe to a couple of Italy's most appealing beach resorts. So, talking about attractions, one of the attractions you have to absolutely visit when you go to Italy is the Colosseum. The Colosseum is perhaps Rome's most awe-inspiring ancient monument. It is an enormous structure that has totally withstood the test of time, stretching over 2,000 years of earthquakes, fires, riots, wars, and it remains relatively intact. The St. Peter's Basilica is an iconic cathedral that offers a rich history in Italy. The church as it stands today dates back to the 17th century, but the site is built on was once contained an ancient church where Peter was allegedly buried. Inside the church, you would find amazing works of art, including the only works with Michelangelo's signature. It's located towards the south side of the city. It is such a huge monument, you cannot miss it. One of the joys of traveling to Italy is the food and drink culture. They have a rich and amazing array of food and cuisine that will stretch your palate as you get that burst of flavor from most of the dishes they have on to offer. The Northwest brings a French influence with its rich butter and cream sauces, while Umbria specializes in salamis and hams and black trifles. Naples is considered to be the home of the humble pizza. All along the coast, seafood dominates. And as I said earlier, pasta is pretty much a favorite all around the country. Italians take their coffee very seriously and they have one of the best wines in the world, one of the best milled wines in the world. When you visit Italy, chances are you would come across a festival or party of some sort because Italians just love to party. And I think they have that in common with certain parts of Africa where we just love to party. You would find a beautiful assortment of food and drinks to buy from. Religious processions are widespread. Good Friday in particular is very well celebrated in the city. And then there's also traditional events such as the Palio horse race in Siena, food festivals often celebrating regional cuisine. So some of the things you should do and not do when you visit Italy, when you're dining with Italians, don't forget to tell them buono appetito before you eat. Never start to eat until everyone is seated and always serve others before yourself. Another thing they don't like very much is eating on the streets. So it's always good if you've got a takeaway bag, just leave it in till you get home where you can eat it properly because they do frown on street eating in some of the areas in Florence. You have to always remember to be quite respectful and quiet, especially around the church sites. They don't really like brawlish behavior, especially around the churches and the cathedral. It's just to always have it in your mind to respect and maintain a certain level of respect around these sites. Also, you'd have to learn some of the words before you go. Permiso is very big on there. It's excuse me in English. And you could say this when you're walking around the streets of Rome, Naples, Milan, where you need to say excuse me to someone. Italy is pretty much a safe country to visit. Just make sure you don't have too much valuables. Make sure you wear sensible clothing and keep your valuables out of sight, as with any country. If you flash your valuables on your person, you might stand the chance of getting pickpockets swarming around you or getting it stolen. I don't think we can quite cover everything about Italy. So I hope this has whetted your appetite about visiting Italy. It's an amazingly beautiful country, and I do hope to visit there a third time again with my family. It's a beautiful touristic site to visit. You can never go wrong having Italy as one of your destination points for vacation, because there's chances are you would not be able to explore everything the country has to offer, because it's so rich and diverse in food, language, culture, as well as scenic and picturesque views. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and until I come your way next time, it's me, Cece, signing off and out.